Ladies and gentlemen, ATV Productions would like to welcome you to Tea Time with Aladdin. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your favorite morning talk show, Tea Time with Aladdin. We are currently doing episode 11, and I am very happy that we've made it this far. I want to thank all my listeners who have been listening in since day one, and for my new listeners who listen in whenever you guys are harassed by me to listen to my show. So I appreciate all of you, and for the growth that we've had. So this is all thanks to you guys. And on top of that, I want to go ahead and announce again that this is going to be the second to last show of the season before I start transitioning Tea Time with Aladdin to its new structure and its new format. I hope to be bringing in a lot of more guest speakers, a lot of more important topics, as well as professional opinions for people who my topics apply to, and as well as more music interviews and actual bring the musicians that the music that I play on the behalf of the musicians to the show. So a lot of things are in progress, and I hope that you guys are still here when I get that going. With that said, I would love to always thankfully shout out my current music that is provided by Alan Gogol. And well, I'm not going to tell you the end of the song because that just ruins the whole music section of the song. But we're just going to go ahead and get into it with our topics for today. But before I start our topics, I would like to invite today's guest. Her name is Genesis. She is the resident of 217 with me here in our beautiful apartment complex. She is my anatomy teacher, and she is the greatest tiny human being that you will ever know. Genesis, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
She's a little shy, so be gentle with her. Now, I brought Genesis in today because we have some of the greatest topics to be brought to your guys' ears. And I feel like they're very simple topics, yet they are some reason the most controversial topics that we hear today. And again, when you think about, when I present them to you, you're going to think to yourself, oh, that's like the most stupidest thing that we should even having a discussion on. Yet it is something that we all hear from different people, and they're always saying how bad of like an issue it is, which I'm going to express my opinions. Genesis is going to share her views, and then we're going to just go with the flow. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. So I just want to go ahead and say today's episode is about love. We all love one another. We all love our friends and our families, but most importantly, we love our kids. And for those of you who are parents, I feel like this is a good one for you guys because it really just brings the whole happy family, I guess, picture to your heads, or at least that's what I'm going to try to, put in.
Test is that?
Yeah.
Test the theory of that.
So, first topic is about kissing your kids. Now, the reason why I even talk about kissing your kids is because you think it's just a simple act of love. You know, you have a baby, you kiss your kid, you love your baby. But as your kid grows up, I'm of course just going to state that my family is a very unaffectionate household, which they show love, but we always talk shit to one another, or we call each other names, and we only hug each other when something bad has happened. So, like, we hardly do any of that. But then again, we're also Arab. So, like, when you walk into someone's house and you do, like, that kiss on the cheek, that's one thing. I'm not talking about that kind of kissing. Like, I'm talking about, you have a kid, you're going to kiss that kid on the lips, You have your parents. I mean, I know people who, grown people who kiss their parents still on the lips. But a long time ago, there was this huge issue when Hillary Duff kissed her kid in public.
Even Tom Brady, when he kissed his son?
Exactly. There was a huge thing about people kissing their kids. Now, of course, celebrities, they're always going to get the shitty end of the stick. But if people talk that way about celebrities, what do they think about regular people who kiss their kids? So, Genesis, tell me, do you kiss your parents?
Well, I think this is a great topic for me to be on because I'm Latin, Hispanic, and we're very affectionate with one another. So I think it's good to have your end of the spectrum versus mine. Although we are very affectionate with one another, we have never kissed each other on the lips, nor do we now. So I'm all about kissing, showing, like, you see your baby cousin, you just want to kiss them all over the place, that's fine. But on the lips, I just feel like cleanliness-wise, I don't like it, or just like
was that just because they slobber all over the place? Or
no,
that...
you as a grown-up, you're passing that bacteria onto the baby, and they're so little and gentle, and I wouldn't do that to someone else's kid, nor would I want it to do it to my own kid.
Okay, so that's baby, though. So say they're like toddler stage. Would you kiss your kid on the lips?
No, I mean, my younger cousin, he used to always do it to us. Like, that's how he used to say, come up to us and just give us a kiss on the lips. And when he first did it to me, I was like, you don't do that, whatever. And my aunt's like, girl, we've told him a bunch of times, it's just what he does.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Young
also...
Casanova, if you know what I'm saying.
I think it's how you grow up, because I know in Europe that's a thing, and nobody thinks anything of it. It's just
right.
Totally platonic. Obviously, it's a child. It's
harmless.
How it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Should be harmless. But I think it's just... you kiss your husband to show affection, or you kiss your significant other to show affection in that way. So I think that's why people want there to be a difference between you kiss your kids on the lips versus kissing a significant other or an older person on the lips.
So overall, though, you think kissing on the lips is a no-no?
I think it has its limits. I think by the time you're dropping your kid off at school, like I remember with the drop-off, like in the morning, there was this one kid who he used to kiss his mom like on the lips.
Okay.
And he was in my age, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. By 7th grade, I was like, okay, this
no,
it's getting a little weird.
Even I would say at 7th grade, if you're still kissing your parents on the lips, it's kind of awkward.
By 4th grade, I think that's pushing it, but I think that's enough of a max.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, 7th grade, you're a teenager.
You're going through changes.
Those aren't changes you want to experience with your parents. But as a whole, when you're, babies, because in Hillary Duff's case, and I think Tom Brady's case, they were both newborns. Like they were.
No, in Tom Brady's case, he was older, and he
How old?
Oh, he was older. It was recent. If you should look it up.
And then
he was like, "Oh, come give me a kiss," and then he stayed there and it was like a prolonged kiss, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's weird." Like the kid didn't even want to do it. He forced his kid to do it, but you have to understand, Giselle's Brazilian, and they do that over there, so it's not.
So, I mean, it is different from, culture-wise. Because, for me, it's not like my parents don't kiss me because culture-wise. They just don't kiss me because they don't love me. No, I'm joking. My parents love me, I think. But growing up-wise, know for a fact, based off of videos, I was a love child. But when it comes to, kissing, it's just, well, one... Why would you want to kiss a baby? They slobber and they drool everywhere, and it's
It's honestly, it's a natural emotion.
No, I get that. I'm just being stupid. But when you kiss a dog, I wouldn't want to kiss a dog because they got drool everywhere. But it's like kissing a baby. However, once they're out of the drooling phase, and you have a nice babbling, cooing baby that actually tries to use words and they're walking, I think it's totally okay for you to kiss your baby on the lips. Of course, if you don't want to, because you personally don't agree with that, then totally about that too. It's your kid.
I definitely don't think you have to judge other people for it because, again, culture.
And exactly. In Latin American and Spanish, out in Europe, European-wise, they're very prominent kissers. And it's not kissing as oh my God, you just put your tongue down that person's throat. It's just an innocent peck. Exactly, a peck. You can give that peck on the forehead, put it on the cheek, either way. A kiss is a kiss.
Right. I'm all about the cheek, forehead kisses because that's what I grew up on.
Yeah.
In my case, when I do have children, I don't know if I do the whole mouth-to-mouth thing, but I mean, me
personally, I feel like if I had to
I wouldn't teach that to my child. If they just do it to me once in a while, I'm not going to reprimand them for it. I'm just going to make sure they know not to do it with everyone. That's just you don't share your drinks.
Right. Now that's a good point because then it comes down to I feel like when you don't share drinks, you're thinking more germs-wise. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I feel like there's just this gray line. Because, like, for us, like I said, you go into another culture. Like, if I were to go to my family's house, I have family in Chicago, right? We're like, I mean, obviously, we're cousins. But if I were to go see my family in Chicago, I will give every one of them a hug. And then for, like, my aunt, kiss her on the cheek. My grandfather, every time I see him, kiss him on the cheek. Grandmother, kiss her on the cheek. So it's like it's a kind of like a respect thing,
right,
especially
we do that too. You enter someone's house, you give everyone a kiss on the cheek.
Exactly.
You just go in.
And then especially if you have like old school family, like I have aunts and uncles that I've never met before, but when I do, well, that I don't see as often. So when I go back to the Middle East, when I go to Palestine and I see them, they're kissing me like 7 times on the cheek, and I'm just like, when will they let go? When will they stop? Their kisses are endless. But at the same time, I know it's just, a cultural thing. So then when I see, obviously...
But again, it's cheek.
Cheek, right. Now, when it comes to like lip to lip, at times, again, if it's an older... I think for me, age cutoff wise, because like personally, like personal beliefs, I don't think there's anything wrong with kissing your baby. Toddler especially. I think if you want to do that, you're the parents. Do whatever.
Right. I just think it's a line between like respect the fact that the parents do it. Just because the parents do it, you don't do it.
Exactly. And
like
that's not something
my
you should
goddaughter
judge.
does it to her dad. Like she always goes and kisses on the lips, and that's fine. And she did it to my uncle, and my uncle's like, "Oh,
what the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, he's like, "No, here," like, and he pointed at his cheek. But she's used to doing it with her dad, so she just did it to my uncle. So then she's like, yeah, we're trying to teach her. That's with your dad, and then everyone else gets on the cheek.
And that's a great point, because there's obviously that boundary between if you keep constantly training your kids, I'm going to kiss them on the lips, then they're just going to assume that every time you meet someone, I'm going to kiss you on the lips.
And that's okay, because that's how you show your love, and that's how you show, like,
affection. All that, right. So, I mean, obviously, once you're like, I think 5 years old, maybe a good cutoff time, maybe 4, to stop kissing them on the lips.
It also goes into like maybe I think some people were uncomfortable because Tom Brady was like him and his son, versus if it were his daughter. I mean, they would actually say the same thing. I think that's sexist.
I feel like if it's your kids, you can kiss your kids. I mean, I get the point.
No, yeah, but yeah, I think if you're gonna kiss one, you have to kiss the other.
Exactly.
I mean,
well, then that's like if you kiss one kid and you give the other one a handshake, they're just gonna stare at you like. Then the other kid's gonna go kick his sister's ass, and then you have war, and you don't want war. I have war. It's a dangerous place. But as a whole, when it comes to kissing your kids, give them a good wet one, and then you can call it a day. Don't give them a big wet one. She's looking at me like I'm crazy. Don't give them a big wet one. Or if you're really that one parent that like loves your kids so much that you just want to eat your kid, so you put your entire mouth over their head. That's totally acceptable. We accept that. But outside of that, you know what to do. But then again, if you're like her cousin and he's just kissing everybody, he is just way advanced for his years, and he's trying to get something else out of it. You know what I'm saying?
He's just little.
I know. But all that aside, our poll question goes out to, do you guys kiss your kids or your siblings?
Kiss them on the lips.
Kiss them on the lips, yes. Do you guys kiss them on the lips, or do you guys give them a quick cheek peck? Or are you just that worried that you just don't like kissing your kids at all because you want to toughen them up? You want to show them that kissing is for weakness. Well, you looked at what were you gonna say? I'm just joking, obviously. I'm just, it's a poll question. But no, for real. Do you guys kiss them on the lips, kiss them on the cheek, forehead, or you just don't kiss them at all? You're more of a tough love kind of parent. Let me know, and we're going to go ahead and transition to our second topic. Now, of course, a lot of people like to argue kissing leads to other things, which that's always not necessarily the case, but in some instances, it can. Now, this is a really weird topic for me, and only because when I go back to my upbringing, and when you're having the talk, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the talk, with
birds
your
and the bees.
the birds and the bees. That's how I prefer. Bees making honey. Do you guys? That one actually sounds dirty. I just made that one up. Don't use that ever. And if you do, please quote me. But no. So yeah, when you guys are talking the talk, the birds and the bees talk with your kids, do you even actually have the birds and the bees talk, or do you guys don't talk about it? And of course, we're adults, so we're just going to call it for what it is. Hanky-panky. No, sex. But obviously, when it comes down to it, what do you do? So, me personally, my mom has never directly spoke to me about sex. Has she ever inadvertently said, if you have sex and have babies, I'll kill you? Yes. But has she ever said, look, I know you're getting older kind of talk? No, she has not. Which, in some ways, I'm very happy with. In other ways, maybe some insight. No, it would have just been weird. Just thinking about it and knowing my mom, it'd be super awkward. Even though she's a nurse, and we have a very comfortable relationship now, I would never at that time would have had that talk. So, Genesis, have you ever had the talk?
I never got sat down for the talk. I mean, I was always told, if you have a question, you come and you ask me. Don't ask your friends. They don't know what they're talking about.
Very respectful.
Make sure, I'll tell you the truth. It was never, promoting sex, because,
But if you have questions...
But if you have questions, if you're curious... Also, too, I think it's different with girls, because we do menstruate. Yeah. So it's just, you want to understand what's going on with your body. And it's not... I had a friend in high school. We were in our junior year. And she admitted to me that when she got her period in 9th grade... She thought she was dying of cancer. And she waited a whole year, just bleeding once a month. She had no idea what it was. She would just put toilet paper every single day. And then when her mom goes to her, hey, you haven't gotten your period yet? And she's like, oh, what do you mean? She's like, we need to take your doctor because you haven't, started your period. And she's like, what is that? And she's like, oh, when you bleed. And she's like, oh, I had that, I started that last year. I just thought I was dying. And her mom's like, oh, my gosh, you're an idiot, this and that. But she goes, in my defense, no one had ever, which I think is crazy, no one had ever spoke to me about this. She's like, so I legitimately went for a whole year thinking I was dying of cancer because I was bleeding. And I didn't know it was a thing. Versus where I got to talk, and I was always told, you go as a kid, you go to the bathroom with your mom or with your dad. It's not like you can't take your kid because you're menstruating. So my mom would be like, look, turn away. Mom has to clean herself up. This is what happens when you get older, stuff like that. But I was told, I never was talked okay, this is what's going to happen. And I was always told, you need to respect yourself. This is what they want. This is what goes down. It's not,
Yeah.
But I was never told,
this is how it happens.
This goes there and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. No, I get that. So for me, it was...
I heard about it through school.
Right.
And then I would tell my mom, this is what I heard. This is what I was told. And then she would either correct me or say, it's true, although you shouldn't be speaking about that. That's not something you talk about at school or wherever you are.
Totally agree.
They're not wrong. Because she never wanted me to have the curiosity for me to go and try to explore
and just figure it out yourself,
right? Or she's very big on curiosity kills the cat. So just come get your questions answered, and then you won't be curious anymore.
I would rather be the one to deliver it to you before somebody else gives you wrong information.
Exactly.
Which is very important because me being a guy, and like she said, it's very different for guys and girls growing up because obviously girls hit puberty earlier before dudes.
And I don't think my brother ever was sat down to have that talk.
And again, in some ways, I think it's okay to not have that talk, but it's also important to understand, a kid's body and their changes. We've all been through there. We've all hit puberty. We all know.
Well, I think it's he knew about puberty, and he knew what was going on. Also, too, how I had told you before, we had, that class in 5th grade where we got, we had to sign the consent form, and we got, for a whole week, we learned about our reproductive systems, and the boys got separated from the girls. So we
you guys were separated?
Yeah, the girls had we're in one room learning about their ovaries and
in
their
5th
different
grade?
Yeah, and their different changes. We had to get consent from our parents.
We didn't get that until middle school.
There was girls already menstruating since 3rd and 4th grade.
Well, yeah,
so they tried to get ahead of it.
Times change, yeah.
Exactly.
So for me, I was in... Geez, when did I leave middle school? So middle school for me ended in 2008. 2009 was my last year in middle school.
Oh, and sorry, I just want to clarify. It wasn't banana and rubber. It was these are your changes you're going to experience. So if you're upset, you don't know why.
Yeah,
more emotional and physical changes rather than like here's how to have sex because
so like
grade.
In not sixth grade, 7th and 8th grade, we had the opportunity to have sex ed. And we even had like a lady come in, and so if you took health class, you learned about the reproductive organs. But then we had a lady, I'll remember this lady till the day I die. Her name was Mary Ann Grady. And she always came in and she was always telling us, like, if you do have sex with someone, she goes, of course, these are some things you need to consider. Like, she didn't tell you practice safe sex. She's just saying be aware, and that safe sex opportunities or safe sex
if you're gonna
resources,
have sex, have
right?
Sex.
So she always handed out pamphlets. She never offered out like condoms and stuff like that, but she told us about condoms. She told us if you were to have sex, the outcomes and the results if you were unprotected and so forth. So she just made you aware. And of course, for me, I had to beg my mom because I didn't want to be that one guy who was just not there because I'm brown, but also because you do want to know. It's like you're curious. And plus, when you hear it from your friends, obviously puberty aside, but like once you see everyone, oh, girlfriend this, boyfriend that, even though they don't even know what they're doing, they're just doing it because they either see it on TV or people are putting it in their head. So then one leads to the other, and bada bing, bada boom. You kiss once, and then after you kiss, you see someone then doing something that's not kissing. You're like, oh, maybe I should do that too. It's just the next step. Exactly. So as time goes on, you start to get the ideas, you start to see things. And then
social peer pressure.
Exactly. So then that's why I feel like it's important to understand or at least have an idea. Now, when it comes down to the talk, like I said, my mom, single parent, obviously, I don't think she's ready to ever talk to me about that. That's just super awkward. And me thinking about it now is super awkward. Just talking about it. I don't even want to think about my mom and,
But in high school, did you get a class?
In high school, we also had sex ed, but that was in our health class.
We didn't have any of that.
Really?
I only remember in 5th grade, we were told, like, women get their periods at a certain time, boys get hairy, like those types of changes. And then I was expecting by the time I got to high school, because that's what I would see on TV, you get like a sex ed class. We were not told anything about sex. Even in my health class, we were just talking about medical terms and different stuff. And I went to the fire academy. I was in the fire academy program, but nope, they didn't go over any of that.
So like for us, our health class was so in middle school, it was like a 1 week thing. You had health class, but then it was just 1 week. And then even in high school, if you took health again, which you had to, it was an elective and you had a certain like section over it. So now when we studied it, it was you learned about the organs. You learned, because like in health class, we talked everything health. So we talked about like the effects of smoking and, stuff like that, and like your mental health. We covered pretty much everything health related. So of course, reproduction, and we talked about the effects. We even had robo babies. We had a class.
I've always wanted to experience that, like
those babies are so annoying.
The babies that you have to take care of.
Mine, all it did was you had to like put a bottle in its mouth, and it was like sometimes it would take it and sometimes it wouldn't. But then it would cry, and you couldn't shut it off. The baby was insane. So it's like that really, I feel like those are very important. And of course, every school is different based off of your resources and what you're able to, what your school can afford. But I do feel like it's important to have, because growing up for me in high school, you had like MTV publicizing shows like 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom, which if that happens to you, I'm not going to tell you how you should react to the situation because I don't know your situation. Obviously, I believe in practicing safe sex, and I believe in practicing like proper health protocols. Do I think a kid at the age of 16 should be having sex? No. I think you should be waiting until you're much more mature and you understand what's actually going to happen and the possible outcomes. But again, peer pressure is a thing.
But also, too, it's the not knowing that makes people curious. It's the, so-and-so it's this, so-and-so said it's this, and so-and-so said it's this. That's why I want to try it. That's why people do drugs even. Like, this person X said they had a great time when they drank or smoked last time, so I'm going to have a good time too. It's just associating yourself with those similar feelings, and you don't even know if that's actually what's going to go on.
What's going to happen. Right, and it's true. And, there's always the curiosities and the unknown.
And then reality TV makes everything like, these girls, there's drama, but guess what? They're getting paid. So it's not that bad to be 16 and pregnant because I'm going to get paid for episode per episode per episode.
Exactly. And it's funny because I actually had a friend in school who was pregnant.
Me too.
And she also happened to be on the show Sick. Yeah, it was super weird. Yeah.
Oh no, I know. I had our sophomore year, one of our friends fell pregnant.
But like the thing is, like people obviously made a big deal about it, and obviously there was talking about it, and then rumors and yada yada, everything in between. But the point is, how far would that have got them if they were educated? Maybe they were. I don't know. But it all comes down to one, being prepared. One, knowing what you're getting into.
You're not prepared at that age.
No, I don't think so. Because,
I'm definitely a strong believer it is your mentality has to switch. Like, you're no longer a child. You no longer have the freedom to do certain things. So once you choose to become a mom, like, that's it. You're a mom. You can say you're a cool mom, and you can still be a cool mom, and you can be whatever, but I have my certain beliefs. Like, once I become a mom, I don't think I need to be wearing a crop top with some low-cut jeans to the mall with pushing my stroller. Like, I don't think that's something that should be glamorized. Some people do. Some people...
and that's where I feel like MTV really did a bad thing. Right. Because
there was a lot of shows growing up that, like...
advertise certain actions and outcomes that were like, oh, you can get paid for things like this. But at the same time, not everybody has that luxury. Not everyone has that lifestyle. So for me, in that situation, the person that I know, I can't say whether or not they were a good mother, but at the same time, from what I was told, she always left her kid with her mom or with her grandparents. She never actually spent the time to like be with the kid, which obviously has its its own impact on its own. But you choose to have a kid, you better leave. A lot of the times
it's the parents though, because the parents don't trust that they won't be a good parent, so then they take over. Which you're not teaching your child anything because
responsibility.
There's no consequences to them falling pregnant.
Exactly.
It's just, okay, have a baby, we'll take care of it.
So this is where it really comes down to proper knowledge and education. So how you choose to address it. I mean, again, I wasn't given the talk, so I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, give your kids the talk. Or if you're growing up. I
definitely think if you're comfortable with it. If you're not, you definitely maybe there's someone that you can like my younger cousin when she started middle school, yeah. She was asking me some questions, but my aunt was very conservative. She's opened up a little bit with them, but she was very conservative, and she asked me, like, can you tell me this? Because my mom won't tell me. And I told her, I will only talk to you about it if she gives me permission. Right. Because I'm not going to tell you something that your mother feels like you shouldn't know, because to each their own.
If she doesn't want you to know, then
it's not my business to teach other people's children. Mm-hmm. So I think before someone tries to teach your child, you should get ahead of it
and ask your parents.
And at least tell them like what you think. Like I believe, like, okay, I think you should wait till marriage because X, Y, and Z, and this is going to happen if you don't, and this is what condoms are. You can go as far as you want it to, and as far as you're comfortable with, and then if not, I mean, nowadays with the internet, you can
the internet's a bad
resources
place.
And then
don't let your kids go on the internet.
No, but you yourself. Like,
yeah, no, but it's very important to be informed and to understand.
And then STDs. Once you teach them about STDs, we did get that talk.
We got that talk in every class.
Yeah, in high school we had some HIV/AIDS positive people come in and like speak, and then they taught us the importance of safe sex. So that's how I got the safe sex, but it wasn't really like a class. Mm-hmm. I feel as if they would have done it. So my high school was predominantly Spanish, and for those of you that don't know, Cuba's very advanced with when they come up into like
womanhood.
No, not even womanhood. It's just like they're sexually awoken very young.
It's just it's that Latin culture.
It's the island culture, I guess. So they come over here, and instead of getting the proper education on that, they just continue it.
Living young, wild, and free, everybody.
Exactly.
So now that we understand the importance that education and being able to tell your children proper information, would you feel comfortable giving your kids the talk when that time comes around?
I have one more question.
Oh, go for it.
So, I know you're not comfortable with it, but since we are in medical school and we are learning about it, do you feel as a future dad doctor, do you feel like you have, like you owe it to your children to properly teach them the right thing, or you're just going to give it off to your wife and be like, you know what, you can deal with it? Like, no, do you feel it's your responsibility to teach your son and your children, even though I know you don't feel comfortable with it? Are you going to swallow that pill to do it? Because you have learned about the body, you know all of this, like...
So, obviously the same question applies to her because, she thinks she's something special. I'm joking. But at the same time, so it's true though. So for me, we actually talk about this all the time, especially because we're actually studying reproduction and like hormones. So what are two big things that play a role in, making a child and, stuff like that? Hormones and your reproductive organs. So we talk about it a lot, and we talk about all the like defects and the potential anomalies that could occur, whether it be from your bodily organs, the penis or the vagina, or if it's about
issues in utero or pregnancy issues, because we're getting into pregnancy now.
So we talk about all those things and we see all the good things, but there's also so many bad things about it. Now, me personally, although when I say it out loud, some part of me says, okay, I would feel comfortable having the talk, but then other times it's not actually here, so I don't know how comfortable I would be. But it really depends, because like for me, if personally, like based off of opinion, I want to say yes, I will be able to comfortably say I'm going to have to talk with my kids. However, if it was a boy, maybe I would feel a little more comfortable, because it's obviously I can relate.
I was going to ask you that. So you're more like man to man, woman to woman? Like the wife handles the girls and you handle the boys?
Now, although I respect that ideology, I also am okay with, it would be a little weird for me. It'd probably even be weird for her, honestly. I mean,
I know. If my dad gave me the talk, I would want to die.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like would I...
Please don't talk about my body.
Would I want to? No.
My dad would die before he ever spoke to me about that.
Oh my God. I would rather the mother. But at the same time, I don't feel like it's anything wrong for a dad.
Right. I mean, there's single fathers out there. They need to educate their daughters just as well. So. And
also, sometimes I also feel like it's important to have a discussion with your partner. And then
on how you're even going to go about it.
Both of you go at it one-on-one, because at that point in your life, I feel like you are both putting your perspectives together as one. You're also delivering information as one, and it's not like unit. Exactly, and it's not like, oh, mom said this, but then dad said this.
Right. It shows that you both feel the same, and you stand on.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my kids won't be doing anything like that, because if they do, I'll kill them. Just like my mom threatened me. No babies in my household.
But it's just questions.
I mean, if they ask.
I don't condone them doing anything.
I didn't touch anyone. My mom wouldn't even let me touch my friends. Because if if
they're like, oh, what is this?
I would not know. Or if
your daughter's like, why does that look different?
Guys, let me tell you how long it was for me to discover my own penis. It took me forever. Like, it was always just this little thing dangling between my legs, and I was afraid to look at it.
My mom once told me a story that, like, when we were younger, so, my brother and I, she had showered, like, my brother and I, like, back to back, and my younger cousin, he was, like, 4, and I was, like, 6. His mom was, like, wrapping me up in a towel, and they were putting him into the tub, and then he started crying because they thought they cut my pee-pee off. He was like, ow, mommy, why'd they do that? And they're like, no, she's a girl.
I think it's important to discuss anatomy-wise. Like, if I were to talk to my son about, like, his anatomy, I'd totally be down with that, because that's different. However, would I want to discuss with them about how to use that anatomy? Hell to the no.
But that's the thing. It's not about using it. It's just letting them know what happens. And then also, too, nowadays, you need to talk to them about consent and respect. Right. Like, you could want to do something, and this is in every aspect. It's not just sexual. You can want to do something. Doesn't mean anyone wants to
kissing.
Do it to you. Like,
right, exactly.
You can want to kiss the person. Doesn't mean you just go around kissing random people.
It's true. It is very true. So what about you? Do you feel comfortable that you could...
I mean, I feel like I would do it just how my mom did it. I'm not going to sit them down, talk to them about arousal, and let them know where it goes where.
Hell no.
I'm not going to show them the Kama Sutra or anything. But I'm definitely going to say, like, this is what happens to you as you're growing up. You're going to feel certain things. Not that you should be, because you're a certain age. Things like that. And then, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what could happen when you're pregnant. Could happen if you get an STD or STI. Most of them are permanent. Mm-hmm. And you never want to be the girl who had chlamydia. I mean.
Never, because
you'll forget.
Clap never goes away, ladies and gentlemen.
You'll never forget that. And then, I mean, I think it's very important just to teach them.
Proper health,
and how to take care of themselves. And then I never want to have a daughter who thinks she's dying for a whole year because...
Oh, yeah, no, that's funny. That's rude. That's sad. Not rude. It's sad. It's funny.
It was rude to her.
It's more funny. Yeah, guys, if you're obviously pay attention to your kids, which is another thing.
Just let them know.
Yeah, just let them know that you're there for them. Talk to them. Console them. And if you let your kid discover his penis at 18 years old like I did, he might have issues. Says a lot, doesn't it? But I want to
explains so much.
It does. But I want to go ahead and this is our second poll right here. Is do you guys feel that it's, do you feel that it's a parent's duties to have the talk with their kids? Or is it okay if they have like a health class or sex ed in school that they can learn from, as well as, have them share that information with you when they come home, So it's like, it's up to you. But like, please share your input and let us know what kind of parent you plan on being. And we will move on to our last topic. And we are back for the best and final topic. And this is this is actually probably the controversial topic out of all three topics, because it's different over time. And the way it's perceived is very difficult to wrap your head around, I guess, because of the climate that we have currently allowed, and like that we socially grew up with. All right, we're gonna talk about disciplining your kids. They effed up, right? they effed up big time. Now, how do you discipline your kids? Now, I have my views. She has her views, but like, one of the things that I grew up with was, I'm not even going to say that yet. Let's just go into the whole idea of how discipline is done. You have some people who time out, ground kids, and so forth, take something away, take away privileges, essentially treat them as equals, which is totally understandable. Then you have some who believe in a, nice physical discipline. But then when I say physical discipline, I'm not talking about like punch your kid in the face, exactly, or like kick them down in the basement. I'm talking about just a nice slap on the butt, or, handcuffed in the corner of their closet. No, I'm just joking. That's mean. No, but, just so like
take away something from them.
Exactly. So how is discipline valued today compared to back then? Is very different, but we're going to talk about the here and nows, and of course how we view discipline, and then overall the take on discipline as a whole. So Genesis, please share your views on disciplining your children.
So I definitely agree that children have to be disciplined. I mean, it's a learning process, right? As they're growing up, they're going to learn that they should do certain things and they shouldn't do certain other things. Sometimes they're going to choose to do the things you already told them not to do. Mm-hmm. So do I think they deserve to get mentally, physically, emotionally abused over certain things? No. That says more of you as a parent than it does as your kid. But I definitely believe a spanking once in a while is not bad. I don't believe it's torture, how these, all these new
people,
studies, like, oh, this person was never mentally the same because they got spanked when they were younger. No, I definitely believe that a little spank here and there, when it's well-deserved, because there's some parents that just take out their anger out on their children, and they're like, just say themselves are angry, so they want to hit, and then they make anything a little bit of a problem. But I definitely think, like, it doesn't have to get physical, but also if you believe in physical punishment, then that's on you. I'm not going to judge you as a parent for it. I mean, I'm honestly not going to applaud you for slapping your kid and, scratching them across the face. But
there's boundaries.
Exactly. To each their own.
Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of like, or thinking about like training your dog. Obviously, if you don't want your dog to you don't want your dog to pee on the floor, you're going to spray him with water. You're not going to kick your dog, but it's the same thing with your kid. You don't want them to do something, you're going to slap their hand, or you're going to slap their butt. Now, again, you don't got to slap them on the face.
Right. And then now you don't. And then another thing is too, it's like, if you slap them because they're doing something wrong, you have to be okay when they go to slap their siblings, because that's what you've taught them.
Monkey see, monkey do. Right.
Exactly. So then that's
a potential
consequence.
Issue.
That's my issue with like physical discipline. It's that I'm telling them not to do something, and I'm telling them to treat people correctly, but then I'm going and I'm hitting them.
Right. And I mean, I get that. So like, were you ever disciplined as a child? Let me tell you guys real quick. She's the perfect child. So
I was no, seriously, I was never hit by my mother or my father.
She was loved.
The one time I was hit was because I was one for the dramatics back then.
If her parents are hearing this, I did not provoke her to talk about this.
So, I used to, like, just to get what I want. My brother was bothering me. I wanted him to stop bothering me. I would, like, turn on the waterworks. And I did one day, like, my dad came home, I guess, a little more
Angrier
than usual.
He was pissed about his day.
He's a roofer. He has a hard day. So he came home and I was like crying, genuinely pretending to cry and like, he hit me. I had even like hit myself to be red. So my dad took off his belt and went to like slap my brother, and then I felt so bad because he genuinely, there was times that he had hit me and then I didn't care. Like, you get what you get.
Yeah.
But like this time, like I had genuinely
damn, you got your
done
brother.
it, and he literally was like right there ready to swing, and I was like, oh, so I like jumped and I got hit. And I took one for the team because it was my fault.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't even intentionally for you.
No, it was for my brother.
You took it. That's honorary. That is an honorary
So I'll never forget that day. And then I never did it after that because I just felt, I was like, you know what? He's a bad kid sometimes. He's going to get hit regardless.
At that. She got hit and she was cured. She never did anything wrong again.
I was never like, my mom loves to talk about me when I was younger because I was never, like, I always knew right from wrong, and I never wanted to be mean to kids. Like, if you wanted my toy, just have it. Like, I'll use it right after you. Like, whatever, not a big deal.
She's such a model citizen. I told you guys, she's perfect. So look, let me tell you a little bit about my upbringing.
And my mom used to always stress consequences. Remember, consequences. Things bring consequences. Like one day, my brother and I were fist fighting in the back because we used to both bring the fire. Like, he used to not hold back. I used to not hold back.
If you're going to get disciplined, you might as well go to town, you know?
Yeah. And then one day she had picked up McDonald's for us, and she was like, if you guys don't stop, like, I'm going to throw out the McDonald's. And she legitimately put down the window, grabbed all the drinks, everything, and just threw it out.
What?
And then she was like, I told you there's consequences. And then we just rode in silence for the rest of the
That's
ride.
like, you know when you see on those, like, the internet memes with the thug life and the glasses shine down? And that's legit what just happened.
It's funny because she said she felt super guilty after that. She like went to her room and cried because she was such a bad mom that she threw away our food. But she's like, I had to teach them.
Sometimes, and
she did.
You know, and that's a thing. I feel like that's one of the biggest hardships as a parent is when it comes to disciplining your kid. You don't want to discipline your kids. I feel like you just, in a perfect world, you want your kids to just know right from wrong. Mm-hmm. However, we're not always brought up that way. Again, whether it be social influences, friends, people that you see on TV, the internet nowadays. But sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. And again, in that situation, it wasn't even the fact that she hit her kids. It was the fact that she just threw their food out the window.
Right.
Hurt you and her wallet. But, at the same time, it's I'm sure it's going to take a toll on your parents.
Oh, yeah. My mom used to hate it, especially, like, so my brother was, like, the angry kid growing up versus, like, me, the little angel. So she never wanted to get physical with him, but like she would literally be like, but if you would listen, you wouldn't get hit, and you would, like, why, she would always say, like, why do you make me do this? And it's true, like, genuinely, I have to say, like, I've seen some kids and you bring it out of them because they've told you 3 times, and it's not the kid's fault either because like their brains are not well developed. They don't understand that, but at times too, it's like.
But it's true. Like I said, you guys have to condition. So, like, whenever I look back, I have 2 younger sisters and I have 2 stepsisters. And, like, my 2 younger sisters, I'm the oldest and I have 2 younger sisters. And we always talk about all the times we used to get disciplined. Bless you.
Thank you.
Multiple times. And as we were disciplined, it was funny because we always talk shit about it. You okay there? Bless you. She'd be sneezing up a storm, y'all. So whenever we got disciplined, it's funny when we look at it now, we're like, damn, we deserve to get hit. Right.
That's how I feel. Like, back then, so even when I was, getting my period and stuff, the things I used to say, like, now I think about it, I'm like, how did I not get hit? Like, I would have I'm going to backslap the crap out of my daughter if she talks to me like that.
And
my mom used to be like, I understand you're going through changes, but try to understand. And now I think about it, I'm like, my gosh, she was such a good mom. And I'm here talking back to her, making her feel like crap, making her cry probably, because I'm sure.
I know my mom has came in after she, like, gave me a stern beating, and she would be like, oh, I'm sorry, but you just need to start being responsible and this and that. And I'm just like, okay. And then that's when she would say, like, oh, but I love you, blah blah blah. And I'm like, love you too with my tears. You know when you look ugly after you just got your ass whooped and you gotta like, oh my god, yeah, of course.
I never got grounded either.
Oh, my mom took my
curfew,
TV a few times. She took my TV, my PlayStation, and a young boy's PlayStation is his soul. So you take away his video games, he's got nothing. Such a young, fruitful age.
I don't know if my brother ever got his video games.
Lucky son of a gun.
I think one day when he was like younger, he like put a hole through the wall. That's when.
Oof. If I put a hole in my wall, I'd be kicked out of my house.
He did it with his elbow because my mom. He got pissed.
Kid.
He got pissed because my mom wasn't gonna let him go to like this little Valentine's Day dance, and he asked one of his girls, like one of his friends of our girls. He's like, "I asked you to the dance," and my mom's like, "Well, you're not gonna go because you're not behaving good."
No,
I think that's probably one of the times that she did get physical with him.
It was rough, and like the funny thing is, so like I'm the oldest, so of course I was the model citizen. So if my sisters did something wrong, they would get disciplined too. But if I was witness to it, you better believe my ass got hit too. And, I still have PTSD to this day. I'm a 26-year-old man. Whenever I go shopping for a belt, you better believe I'm afraid to see a belt. But it's my family, especially coming into like a foreign household, like we use anything, whether it be a belt, a shoe, a plate. Yeah.
So what did you get hit with?
Oh, everything. I mean, I have a list. Me and my sisters, we have the top 5 best things to use against your kids.
It was like with the buckle or?
No, my parents never used the buckle, thank God. I feel like if you use the buckle, that's abuse.
I've known in high school, I knew some people, like they had the marks from like the buckle. And
that's another thing. If you do discipline your kids, make sure you hide it. Because
how to be a child abuser 101.
Yeah, no.
Make sure you hide. Make sure their marks aren't seen.
No, but for real.
Same with long sleeves to school.
No, but for real though, like obviously don't abuse your kids. Like
exactly. I feel like once you've gotten to the point where you've like bruised
them heavily
or like have left a mark, I think you need to
reevaluate how you're disciplining your kids. But again,
and they're not going to get it. I just feel like once you hit, my brother got hit and he's set in his ways.
I was, like I said, they talk about prison, which I will talk about that once upon a time. Prison is definitely a topic down the road. But you think about prison, like prison is one of those things where they say like you don't get reformed because of the way they treat you in prison, which yeah, they treat you like shit, but you're supposed to be rehabilitating a person, not demoralizing them and showing them that
right. But then people also agree like they're scum. They don't deserve to be treated like humans because of certain actions that they've already committed.
Right. Again, topic for another time because that's such a great one. But anyways, when it comes to discipline, you need to know your limits between how far is too far.
Correct.
And then at the same time, how are
you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you just hit them to hit them, or are you teaching them a lesson with the discipline?
Correct.
Whether that's, again, taking away their TV, taking away their phone, taking away certain privileges. Because I see kids today who you go out to the store and they're acting all kinds of a fool, Like, there's one time I seen a kid screaming so hard, and I just saw the mom go, "Look, Timmy, I understand you're upset, but I need you to calm down for mommy." And this kid was still going, I swear to God, this kid could have been an opera singer with how long he was.
So what I was like thinking about just now is this. So in that way, do you try to find disciplines that cater to your child? So like if you understand that you have an angry, hot-headed kid,
beat the shit out of
them. Are
them.
you still going to continue to beat them, or are you going to do your own research or try to seek a therapist's help to see what's the better way to rehabilitate them and to help them out? Because obviously hitting them isn't going to...
I mean, it depends, because some people... I
think it depends on like what level.
No, I agree. No, you really have to analyze your own child and understand...
And each child is different.
Exactly. Like, so you can't model like... If I were to have kids and she were to have kids, I couldn't say, oh, she disciplines her kids like this, so I'm going to do the same to my kids, because my kids are obviously going to be they're kinds of crazy compared to her kids. So
I'll probably get the craziest kids.
You never know. The world is a mysterious place. But that's the thing. You don't know. So you always have to stop and structure a plan before you just go ahead and start whacking all kinds of crazy things, But like I said, when I was disciplined, I look at it. Obviously, then I cried and all the marks are still mentally there. And once my mom
realized that it's like
exactly. I realized that whatever I did was wrong, and you better believe I don't do it to this day. If my mom is listening to this, she's going to be like, damn straight, you deserved it. And I'm like, I hope she doesn't listen to this and get the satisfaction for me admitting that she was right. But it really comes down to that. But my mom, it's funny because, like, obviously for me, again, guys, we're different. We get older, we get bigger, quicker. Well, not quicker. But, you know, we
well, yeah, my mom's like, what am I going to do? Hit him?
Exactly.
Like,
so, like, my mom, after she used discipline and she couldn't actually hurt me anymore, she went to mental warfare, which sometimes is better than actual discipline.
I'm a guilty kid. That's why.
Yeah, my mom conned me into a lot of guilty situations.
I'm a guilty kid. My brother's just, he don't give a F about nothing.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to do something. He doesn't care if you hit him, beat him. He doesn't care. At the end of the day, if he has his eye on something, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Versus Genesis, you can get her within the first 2 seconds. Like, I do so much for you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she does. And I work so hard. Oh my gosh, she does.
I know.
Like, I'm a total guilty.
I was the only guilty. My mom got me good. But that's the thing. Even to this day.
You just got to guilt me with one thing, and you've ruined my whole day because
because you think about it. It's in your head for the rest of your life. Until you admit you get it off your chest. Look, again, I'm talking about it because it's still my mom conditioned. I'm a well-trained pup. I have been conditioned so well, but I tell you, it's.
So you would say that discipline works?
I agree. You know. No, I'm a firm believer in discipline.
You're a pretty good human being in society.
And when I go back to like how people view discipline in like schools, like I even think about discipline in schools. Like I think disciplining in school should be a thing.
Right. My family members were allowed to discipline.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, family members. I think other like my aunts kicked it. Well, they didn't beat me as hard as my mom did, but. You know,
spanking.
Yeah, my mom spanked me, slap my hand. They'd be like, slap me in the arm, like, don't do this. I mean, if you're family, I totally agree with it. Even times.
Well, there was even one time that like my friend has kids, and there was one time that like her son like just hit me, and then I slapped him back, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to do that. It was just like a reflex, and she was like, no, like.
See, and that's another really controversial topic.
She's like, no, you're with him all the time. Like, you are allowed to discipline. She's like, obviously don't abuse him. She's like, but.
Right. And that's another great point of view because I know a lot of friends who are comfortable with close friends or like relatives that aren't really relatives, but, you know, they're associated as. Like, do people, like, if it were me, and if I know they hold similar values to me and they don't want my kids doing something that I wouldn't want them doing, I would let them discipline them.
Like, they go to your sister's house.
I would let my sister discipline.
And your sister's like, no, he shouldn't be doing that. I'm going to spank him.
Yep.
I would be totally okay with
that's their aunt.
Whoever.
That's their aunt. And we're family. So obviously, if it's something that I'm not about, she shouldn't be
I would be okay with whoever. If they know that's what my friend says too. She's like, I know you know my discipline and my teaching methods, and I know you're not going to teach them anything that I don't agree with. Like, and I mean, I wouldn't want them to go over to my brother's house and then for him to let them do whatever the heck they want, and then they come home all crazed and hopped up and doing whatever the heck they want because my brother didn't discipline them. Right. I'm not saying for him to tie them up and slap them with a belt, but you know, a good stern no, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just be strong and don't feed into their bad behavior.
Yeah, but my mom told me, she's like, oh, I remember when I went over my friend's house for the first time, because I would always go over my cousins, but I didn't go over a friend's house till like middle school or maybe like 5th grade. My mom told, I used to hate when mom used to do it. And if she acts up, you can go ahead and discipline. I'm like, you know I never do. But I was told, if you do something at their house and they don't like it, don't be coming crying to me because you got slapped. You shouldn't have done it in the first place.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a really hard thing to do. But I mean, I'm a firm believer in discipline. And I mean, I know people listening to this might not agree.
I guess it's
but like, again, it's preference and how well your kids are. But
it's controlled discipline.
Yeah, no.
It's not like I'm just going to hit my child every day. It's for him to learn to toughen up and be a man.
No. I agree. To clarify, it's not just don't be disciplining your kids just for shits and gigs. Discipline them because you know.
You want them to be a model citizen and you want them to grow up with values and different things like that. And sometimes, even though people might agree, sometimes you do have to get physical. It's just... I feel like it's the animal in us. Like, you need to show who's dominant and you need to show who the alpha is. And if you don't establish that early, they're going to walk all over you.
Agree. And if you let your kids rule you, well, it's game over.
I mean,
you're just not ready.
That's your problem, but not everyone has to think that way.
So, you know, I hope that you take, you know, good, valuable lessons out of this discussion.
Maybe you don't agree with anything we've said, but...
But again, yeah, I'm not telling you guys to go beat your kids.
Thanks for hearing us out.
Yeah, but I appreciate that you're listening. And, of course, you know, I will go ahead and for once make 3 poll questions. How do you guys view discipline when it comes to your kids? Obviously...
again, this is appropriate discipline.
Right.
So would you appropriately discipline your kid... with a little, like, we have to put a spanking.
Okay, fine. Do you guys feel comfortable disciplining your kids in regards to like a spank or, you know, a nice belt whoop on the booty.
Or a timeout.
Or do you guys feel that conflict resolution skills learned in therapy are very beneficial for you and your child? Please feel free to share your opinions, and we would love to hear this. And on that note, I want to go ahead and thank Genesis for being on today's episode.
Thank you for having me on. I had a great time.
It's my pleasure. I hope you guys enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoyed your beautiful conversations and contributions, even though, you know, I'm still jealous on many situations, especially how your parents never hurt you.
Well, if you're a good kid, you didn't have to get hit in the first place.
I was a shitty kid, guys. I was good. Don't get me wrong, but I had my moments. But as a whole, thank you. And hopefully we'll have you on again in the future. And we are going to shimmy our booties on over to the highlight of every show, the music. So sit back, relax, prep your ears for some beauty coming your way, ladies and gentlemen. Alright guys, the real reason you listen to the show, the music, always the music, which I'm okay with because this is gold. I want to make sure you guys are listening to the best music that is out there today, not the radio. The radio gives you nothing but poison and it melts your brains. This is what's going to get you a girlfriend. This is what's going to get you a boyfriend. This is what's going to get you dancing in the clubs. And today's gold that I want to present to you all goes by the name of Carnival. Now, real name is William Carney. He is a music producer from Virginia Beach, so thank you, Virginia Beach, for creating such a talented man. He currently lives in Los Angeles. He went to school in New Orleans. Now, let me tell you, he is not too fond of singing himself, even though deep down inside, I know he is probably the best singer we could probably, ever listen to. Everyone's shy. We all have our strong suits, and his strong suit is producing. He's a producer. He's great with beats, and he wants to make songs better. He wants to turn something that's okay into something beautiful. If you go on YouTube, you can see some of the songs he mixes. He makes great mixes. If you see the people that he works with, the songs that he helps produce, they're gold. I mean, they're nothing but excellent. And some songs that he has worked on that I think are just absolutely amazing. One song with Armani White and Jackson Bryant, two great artists that I also enjoyed listening to because of him. There's a song called Jasmine. Beautiful song. And, I'm biased. My name is Aladdin, so of course I gotta love the song. But today's song that I'm giving you guys to listen to that'll get you hooked to my friend is No Rain. It is him and Jackson Bryant, and I promise you, you guys will not listen to anything better today. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy No Rain by Carnival and Jackson Bryant.
One, two, with the dude, look. Hold up, it got soaked in the basement, a couple feet deep. But right there on top's where I'm waiting, where there ain't no leaves. Don't step out and feel it. It won't end up in kind. Take cover under the ceiling. Give myself peace of mind. Because out in the bed, caught up in the web, there's a wave of commotion coming overhead. Yeah. I see water, feel no rain. Lock the door when I'm leaving it closed.
Now, I hope it's not raining by you guys, but if it is, I hope this song is going through your heads. Again, Carnival and Jackson Bryant, I can't express to you guys how much his music just makes me, I don't know, it's the sound. It just makes me feel calm. I love the beat. Everyone that he works with, I feel like it's just the song's a hit. The last song that I have knowledge of him working on is with Floyd Fuji. It's called Gelato. I love Gelato, shaved ice, the best stuff to have. And then there's Gelato with Floyd Fuji and Carnival. So give that a listen too, because I'm telling you, every song that he makes, gold. Every song that he works on or he mixes, gold. And I won't steer you wrong, so trust me, you will not be disappointed. Will, thank you for letting me use your songs, or advertising your music, because again, I'm a huge fan, and I hope everybody else finds your music as enjoying as I do. So thank you again, and everyone else, please go give it a listen. Like I said, everything is going to be in the link of the description of this show, so check him out. Like I said, he's on Facebook, he's on SoundCloud, he is on YouTube, Spotify, you name it, he's on there. Apple Music, you guys will find him. So there you have it, Carnival. Thank you. And of course, thank you, listeners, because again, I appreciate your support. I'm glad you guys enjoy the music. I'm glad that you guys have stayed with me this entire time. And if for all those who are just joining today, I appreciate you too. This is a continuing process, and I want you guys to be with me from the very beginning to the very end, all right? And of course, I got to make sure to deliver nothing but the best sounds to your guys' eardrum. Please, if there is anything I can ask of you, is to subscribe, like this episode, share my show with others. We are on every platform: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify. Literally, I can keep going for days on how many platforms I am on. Please share it with everyone. Please like this episode. And honestly, guys, I just want to thank you again. So please enjoy your day. Hope this is like the cherry to your week. And I can't wait to get the next episode rolling with you. Peace and love, guys. See you next time.